Okay, hold on just a second. I'm gonna try to get video up real quick. Give me a minute. Can you all hear me? Okay, Shakimia, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to get the gallery coming up so I can see everybody. Okay. Okay, there's Teresa. Okay, I see everybody coming on. Okay, we are recording now. Okay, I see Teresa Taylor up now. Teresa Peterson is up now. All right. Shakimia, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, okay, we're getting people up now. All right, we're moving along. Okay, maybe we'll survive this thing tonight and not have any crazy problems happen. Okay. I hope everybody is kind of hanging in there and doing as well as can be expected. How many of you all have suspended somebody from homeschool yet? I'm telling you, I was sitting there thinking about this the other day, and I said to my wife, I said, developmentally, these children need to be around other children, and it's really sad that they're not getting the chance to be around other kids, But, I think that hopefully we're doing the right thing. I really think that, when everything gets said and done, I will say this, we may have the digital platform to the point where, teachers and schools can use it for a variety of things. I can see a lot of applications, if done correctly, to exceptional children with special education. I can see them using a lot of things that could be done where children would have the chance to do some things at home too. But all things considered, real quick, can I find out who's here that's on non-video? I'm trying to make sure I've got everybody. Okay, I've got
Valerie Davis.
Okay, Valerie, there you are. Can you turn on your video, because I can't see you, but I know you're there. There's Heidi. How are you doing, Heidi?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's see. We've got Teresa, Shakimia, Teresa Taylor, Ms. Mitchell, Heidi, Valeria. I can't see you. Can you turn your video on so I can see you?
Brian is saying I got to go back through settings and all that stuff.
Okay, well, if you can't get it up, that's fine. I just want to make sure that you're able to hear us and everything, if nothing else.
I can hear you. And I can.
Okay. Heidi, I take it that this has been kind of an interesting week for you. Have you figured out how to get around the wedding thing so far?
It's been very interesting. I think we've just decided we have decided to just do immediate family. And then us and our preacher, and then we already have 2 babies. So that already puts us at 12. So we're breaking the law by 2 people, but it'll be okay. I don't think anybody is really going to pull up in the middle of nowhere where we live to find us. So it'll be fine.
Let's
Heidi,
hope.
your kids don't count, Heidi.
They don't count?
Yeah, your kids don't count.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
No.
But we can go with that, right?
Yeah, I'll just add it and it's fine.
That's funny. Well, kids don't count.
Well, Tara's upset because she's supposed to be there. So.
Well, you can always try that next time you go in a restaurant. Kids don't count, so they're free, right? Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, let me go ahead and say this. I opened the window a little bit further on everybody and allowed you all to have a little more time on your assignment if you needed it. I did not close the window officially until Monday night because I knew there were folks who were having trouble with task number 2. What I've thought about, and I kind of want to get some feedback tonight, with the big innovation plan, you all have done an innovation plan. If you took 486, you've done a 487 innovation plan, you've done a 485 innovation plan. I'm not going to ask you to do another innovation plan. What I think we might really want to do with this, and I'm just going to kind of give you an idea as the big last assignment, is what I would like for us to do is after we've gone through number 1, 2, and 3 on the PPAT, looking at how you would respond and what have you. I'm really thinking on this last assignment, what I would like for maybe everybody to do is pick the area that they thought of those 3 areas that they didn't really feel like they had done as well on, and maybe look at doing a polish up on those to kind of see if we could get it to the point where you might want to, where if you were returning it for, to post it for evaluation, it would be ready to be posted for evaluation. Because I really do think one of the things that we can do that's the most beneficial to you all right now, because so many of you have taken the bulk of your classes already, and either you're waiting to intern or either you're, residency teachers and you're already in classrooms. But so many of you have already done that. I really feel like probably the best thing I can do for you all is to help you all get to the point where you are ready to submit one, or you would know what needed to be done to submit, one. So I'm thinking what I might do is after y'all turned in task number 3, I'm probably going to send out a little email poll to you all and ask you all to indicate which one that you're going to do for, for submission. Because one of the things I will tell you is this: most of you all, when you actually do the PPAT next fall, most of you all are probably going to be in the same school setting. You're probably, I'm guessing, you're probably going to be with the same student population. You may not be with the same class, but with the same student population. So, getting a good feel for the demographic is going to be very important early on. Because how many of you noticed in task number 2 that the very things I asked you in task number 1 were the things I asked you to lead off in task number 2 about? Anybody notice that? They wanted to know about the school environment. Now, there's a reason why they do that, and I'm just going to share this with you a little bit. You don't have to do the same, the same children on each of the tasks if you don't want to. But I will say this: one of the things I think is really bad when you don't do it is that when you try to do, say you did 2 kids here on task 2 and then 2 more kids on task 3, and then you did a whole separate group on task 4, what usually happens is you don't usually do as well because of the fact that, you have to go relearn those kids in an instructional capacity again. So I always tell people, when you start, pick your children early on, get permission from their parents, and use those children all the way through. I mean, it just makes good sense to not reinvent the wheel every time you do a new assignment. But the one thing I would say is this, and we've been getting back data the past week from tasks 1, 2, and 3 from the folks who are taking it this semester. And I will say this: one of the things I've noticed with the students that I've been coaching who were in the same situation you all were in, one of the things I've noticed with them, the ones who did very well were the ones who took the time to explain their responses. Okay, the ones who didn't do very well tried to write them as quickly as they could, as brief as they could, and they didn't try to explain anything, and they didn't do as well. Now, can you put too much in there and overkill it? Yeah, you can. But I'll give you a prime example. How many of you, when I sent you the how-to notes on task number 2, how many of you went and looked at the example that was at the bottom? I had a hyperlink on the bottom of that where you could click and go right into the thing. How many of you looked at the examples on those? One of the things I'll say about ETS, and when I send you out the stuff for task number 3 tonight, there's a hyperlink at the bottom of the notes that I send that if you'll click on it, one of the things I love about ETS, and they do this, and this is, y'all can see me, right? Okay, because like I said, usually I come up in a corner somewhere and I didn't see me, so I figured y'all couldn't see me. I just wanted to check. But one of the things that I like about what ETS does is they give you an example of one that is awful, and they give you an example of one that is very good, that passed very well. And that's one of the things I think is really important when you get the hyperlink for the examples. Pull the example and read the first example, because that's the good one, and then read the second example. That's the one that's bad. It's really bad. And I think they do that for a reason, because they want you to see what a good response is going to look like, so you can kind of model it. There is nothing wrong with copying a style. Now, there is something really wrong with plagiarizing a response, but with copying a style, if you look at how they write it, for example, when I send the notes out for you all, how many of you have gotten these every time when I send them out? I send them out for task 1 and task 2. Well, you're going to get them for task 3 too. And one of the things I tried to do when I was putting those together is I tried to put them together with a step-by-step. Do this here, and do this here, so that it explains what you're doing. Because this one, for example, this one is a lesson plan, all right? If you remember the first one, you had to explain the demographics of your school and the school community in which the kids learn and which you teach. The second one, you're talking about assessment, and everybody knows about assessment. But the thing that people don't think about with assessment is there's got to be some instructional pieces to it. For example, how many of you got hung up on the thing where they were asking you for how the students performed and how the class performed? How many of you got kind of hung up or confused?
I hung up on the whole thing.
Well, and I can understand that, because it is frustrating, because we don't think a lot of times when we're doing this about the step by step by step by step. And what they're looking for right now is they're looking to see that you have a process in place by which you operate. One of the things I'll tell you is that most of the folks who got down to the video section, those folks, when you're doing the video lesson where you're teaching, one of the things about it is if the other things are in place, the video lesson goes like a charm. There's not a problem. And I think one of the things people don't think about with the preparation for the lesson and things like this is that the more time you take to explain things, the better off you're going to be. I will say this. One of the things, I keep saying one of the things, I will say this. When you're writing and you're thinking about how you're going to respond, always make sure that you write in ordinary language that folks can understand, okay? Because that's a real important part of it. Don't get too technical. Don't put too many high-end words and stuff in there, because people don't want to read a theory book. They want to see what you're doing. And most good teachers, I'm going to tell you, the best teachers I ever saw didn't get wrapped up in education language. They knew how to teach, and they taught so children could understand them, and they taught so that parents could understand how to do what they were doing in the classroom at home, even if they didn't necessarily have educational training. They got it. But one of the things, when you start looking at the task 3 responses, when you get those tonight, we talk about strategies. It's real simple. You guys have done this kind of lesson planning ever since you started your coursework. You start off with your standards and your learning goals. Then you go to instructional strategies, and then what learning activities are you going to do? What materials are you going to need to do it? You look at your 2 students, you look at the class, you look at the differentiated instruction. For example, if you have 2 children, one of them is very bright, one of them is an exceptional child with special education needs, you're going to need to be able to point out what you did for this child and what you did for that child. And, and for example, with the whole class, what did you do with the whole class? I mean, and, the whole class kind of as a group, but, those 2 children, you probably had to do some things much differently. A child who has special education needs, you're probably going to have to do a little bit more direct instruction one-on-one. You're probably going to have to incorporate more activities with the child. You know, a child who's at the higher end, they're probably going to be okay with a lot less direct intervention. You might have to do more encouragement and enrichment for them because of the fact that they may have the need to move ahead faster than their classmates. But, you know, all that stuff, you've done that. You've talked about those things in your other classes. We're not doing anything different than what we've all done before. The point is we just have to learn the format in which we're going to put it into place. Because like I said, one of the things that will happen next fall is everybody who's going to be doing the PPAT, who's residency, will get invitations to some support sessions that we're going to do on Saturdays through the semester, through the first part of the semester to get you all ready, because by the time y'all get to the first week of November next year, you all will have already finished the PPAT, provided we don't have a hurricane or some crazy natural disaster. Everybody will be done with their submissions for the PPAT by the 1st of November next year. And then it'll just be a matter of waiting. But I will tell you this, and one of the things I'm going to go back to over and over again is this. We don't expect perfect scores. In North Carolina, the PPAT passing score is 38 out of 60. It is not 60 out of 60. So there may be some areas you don't do as strongly in as you do in others. But I will say this. It is a very, very real possibility. Looking at the folks this year who took it in the spring semester, they had the first 3 sections. They're waiting to find out what they have to do for the 4th one because this all happened and schools had to close down. But one of the things about it is these folks are waiting to see how they're going to do task number 4, the actual video recording. And I'm going to tell you, right now they're in pretty good shape. So I think that you all can do this, and I think it's going to be good for you all. Let me ask you a question with task number 3. Like I said, this one's about writing a lesson plan and planning a lesson and delivering a lesson. Is there anything that anybody feels weird about with lessons? Maybe you're not quite sure about how it would go together or anything like that. Anything y'all want to ask about?
I just have a question about the formatting, because I know it's really easy with technology when you're copy pasting, like the format can always go off, or the fonts, or, you know, the little text boxes and stuff. Because we've seen, I know most of us have seen the actual PPAT formatting of the lesson plan. And then the one that you sent us looks completely different. So I just want to make sure that I'm using the right format when I'm doing this lesson plan.
Would you all like me to send you the PPAT one from ETS? I will do that tonight.
We have that one. We have that. Or
You have it?
Yes, can we use that?
Please use that one.
Okay.
Like I said, I thought I got everything off this template because, like I said, this was a template that was being used for the old lateral entry people when it was handed to me, and I thought I'd gotten everything off, but I apparently must not have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that before I do this again that I have put the new PPAT lesson plan template in place. Use the PPAT one. If you have it, go ahead and use it. If you need it, let me know and I'll email it to you. You can get it off the ETS website yourself, but I'll just email it to you because I just don't feel like you guys need to be climbing around trying to find stuff. But I will say this, one of the things I think is really important to you all right now while you're doing this, how many of you have been to the ETS website for the PPAT and looked at it? And just gone through it and looked at it?
I have. I had to do it for last fall. But I have a question. For that assignment, we're just doing the lesson plan. We don't actually have to complete that whole task, do we?
With that one, I'm going to ask you on task number 3 just for the lesson plan, okay? You don't have to do all that stuff, but I do want you to read it so that when we come back together on the 20th, we can talk about it, because we'll do one more meeting together on the 20th, and then we will, then you'll do your last major assignment, and then we'll wrap up by May 3rd. I mean, you think about it. in all truthfulness, we don't have but about 3 weeks left in this course when you get down to it. You know, so when you really think about it, we got a lot of things that we can go ahead and get done. And you guys are doing all right with everything right now. One of the things I will say is, like I said, just the lesson plan is fine for this one. If you use the PPAT template, I'll send it to you. Create the lesson plan and go through the lesson plan, because there are some things you're just not going to be able to write about. You're not going to be able to write about how this kid received the lesson and how that kid received the lesson, because those kids aren't getting the lesson right now, you know, because you're not delivering it to them. So with that being said, we'll just, we'll have to work our way through that. And so that being said, I think we can get all that to where we can do something with it. But like I said, just use the PPAT lesson plan, and I'll send it to you. There shouldn't be a problem with that. Now, excuse me?
You gonna send the lesson plan to everybody? Because I've never seen that format before.
Okay, I'm gonna download it and I'll send it to everybody tonight as soon as we get done. Okay. So that should not be a big issue, and we'll get it. We'll get it all in place, because the last time we met, we had some real problems with recording, and I couldn't even share the recording with you all. So that being said, I wanted to make sure that this time I got the recording part right. But like I said, the big thing is really concentrate on the lesson plan. Concentrate on the craft of actually how you would teach the kids. That's the one thing when I talked to the folks from ETS back in the fall, that's one of the things they went back to over and over again. We need to see the craft of teaching. If we're going to try our best to give credit where credit is due. That they were so good about that. And when I looked at the ones we had this past spring, who just got task 1, 2, and 3 back, they were very good about giving credit to what people did right. Okay. Now, did they not mark things that people did wrong? As far as did they withhold credit where they needed to? Yes, they did. But what people did right, they really worked on. And for example, to give you an idea, task number 1 is not worth any point value, but it's something that they use when they're looking at it to it's kind of like this. You do it, and you do a real good job with it, because it does impact how they read the other 2. They don't necessarily score it. Task number 2 is best of 12 points. Task number 3 is best of 16 points. And to give you an idea, task number 4 is best of 30 points, okay? So when you think about it, wait a minute, best of 32 points, excuse me. But the funny thing about it is that when you look at it, for example, if 38 is your point, a lot of our folks were getting 9 of 12 and then getting 12 of 16. So of 38 points, you're talking about 21 of the 38 points, and then that last section they only had to get 17 of 32 points to score and get it, and get their minimum 38 they had to have. Now, will people do better? We hope people will do better than that. But the point is, it's like anything else. We want you to pass the test, and we know people could be making 50 and 60 points of the assignment. But the point is if all you need is 38, that's, we want to get you to where you're passed. That's one of our big things. Okay, there's Valeria and there's Tanya. Tanya, can you hear me? There you are. Hey, Tanya.
Yes, I tried getting on earlier. It said the host had a meeting in process at 7 o'clock.
Look, I'm telling you, we've fought this thing all semester, but I promise you when we're done, I'll send out the recording to everybody. Everybody will get the recording on YouTube. But that being said, we're not going to be a whole lot longer, but a couple of things I'm going to send. I'm going to send the notes for task number 3 for how to respond. Remember, on the last page of task number 3, there is a hyperlink that will take you right to the examples for task number 3. I want you to look at them, okay? But I'm also going to send you the lesson plan template for task number 3. And like I said, the big thing I want to see you all do this time is I want to see you do the lesson plan template according to the task, okay? All right. That's the big thing. That's the big assignment really, is the actual lesson plan. So when I send all that out in the email, I'll reiterate that to you all. It's about 7:30 now, and I know that everybody's got things they're having to do tonight. And I'm also going to send out the rubric for task number 3, just so that people have it and they know what they're supposed to do. Now, as far as that's concerned, I'm going to send out the rubric. I'll send out the task requirements. I'll send out the notes, and I'm going to send out the lesson plan. Does anybody have anything they would like to ask?
When is this due?
This is not due until I think I want to say it's the 19th, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right, the
It's
19th.
the 19th. That's Sunday the 19th. That's not Easter Sunday, but the Sunday after. So, that being said, that'll give you a little bit of time to do that, and we'll work our way through getting everything done we need to get done. I will say this, most of the folks in class, if y'all have had questions, y'all have either sent me emails or you've either called me, and that's fine. Don't hesitate to give me a call if you need to, and don't hesitate to send me an email. Now, if you all think that after we meet on the 20th that we need to do another Zoom, then let me know, and we'll schedule another Zoom if we need to do another one. Okay. But like I said, we had only set up, because this was a 1 semester hour class, we'd only set up 4 Zoom sessions for this one. But like I said, if you feel like we need another Zoom before we get into the last assignment, then by all means, just, let me know on the 19th or on the 20th when we do our 4th one, and we'll schedule another one. Because like I said, once we do the 20th, you think about it. Once we do the 20th and everything is due, it's not going to be that long till the 3rd of May when the actual semester ends. And like I said, I think you all are in a lucky situation, because we're actually using this class to talk about the assessment. And we're using this class to talk about what you're going to be required to do in the fall. So this should be good for helping you all get ready, whereas you're not going to see it for the first time like the folks who saw it this spring. There were a bunch of folks this spring who saw this thing for the first time. They didn't have any real prep work ahead of time to speak of, other than maybe if they were in 485, they might have done task number 1. So that being said, you all are getting a good look at it early on. So I will send those things to you. It's 7:32. I'm going to send the recording to you all also, like I normally do. And is anything else for the good of the cause before we close for the night?
Yes, I think I missed the part when we talked. I think you might have been talking about some of the scores that we have gotten back. Some of the ones already taken.
Yes. Some of the scores have come back. Yes. I haven't gotten everybody's, but I've gotten some of them. And, for example.
Yeah, I had sent you mine, so I'm not sure
Well,
how to read that.
Like I said, I'm gonna get back with that group of people. You were in the group. You were in the support group, the PPAT support group, weren't you? That was getting the Zooms in January and February. Okay, I'm gonna hook up with you.
Yes, and I gave you my test scores.
Okay, and I'm gonna hook up with your group probably in another week. As soon as I have everybody's, I'm going to send out for another Zoom so that we can talk about scores and where people are. Because, like I said, with you all, you guys are kind of in an odd situation, because the North Carolina General Assembly may help you all out because of this thing where they've had to cancel school. So we're waiting to see what's going to happen at the end of April. But I think I'm going to hook up with you guys before the end of April just to kind of explain what we know. If you remember, when was it, last week, Dr. Maxwell hosted a session with you all, and we're hoping we'll get a little more clarification on you all either next week or the following week. So just like I said, just keep the faith, do a little praying, and and just hold tight, because once we know stuff, we're going to get back online with you all and tell you what we know. But anyhow, does anybody have anything about task number 3 about doing the lesson? Okay. All right. I'm going to send all of this stuff out to you in just a few minutes as soon as I have it downloaded. So that being said, you all be safe. Please wash your hands, use lots of soap. I know this sounds weird. I'm not a crazy mask person per se, but the other day, just because of the fact that we're probably in the 2 roughest weeks we're going to have with this thing, I did go out and buy something. I had to buy some because I wanted my 80-year-old mother to have a couple in her purse, just so that she wouldn't go out somewhere and breathe on somebody. But anyway, but all things considered, please be careful. Be careful. This is for real and this is serious. And we don't want anybody to end up with anything they don't need to have right now. Okay. You all got families, you all got things going on. So, let's take care of each other through this thing. All right. So you all have a good Easter. Be safe. I know it's an odd Easter because, everything connected with Easter, you're not really getting to do this spring, but we'll get through it. Summer will come. Everybody will be happy. It'll get warm, and we'll all get to grill out in our backyards and spend time with everybody we didn't get to spend time with all spring. So y'all be safe, okay? Y'all have a good Easter.
You too.
Take care.